Today we are going to be working on the visualizers, but first, behind the scenes, I added some active classes to these songs. So if you click one, it'll play. Then if you move down to another one, that one will be active. And then when it opens up, it'll just open up to the first one for the active class. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what I did. So I just went ahead and went to app.css. I created an active class with the color of blue and the background with an RGB of 209, 203, and 219, which gives it that little bit of a gray. The next thing I did was we head over to the dashboard, close this. I added the class, I bound it to the active class, and it's going to be picking song, and then if song equals active item, it'll get that active state. So if we head down to our data properties, we have an active item is set to null here. And then the active item equals this song's this index, so that it'll start on the first one. And then for our play method, I went ahead and set this active item equal to song. So that's all I did. Fantastic. So to get started on getting our audio visualizer to work, if we head up to, let me shrink some of this down. We already have a canvas element and it's set to absolute, top 0, left 0, width, height, full height, and we have an ID on it so that we can focus in on it. If I was to go in here and say BG black, we should be able to see that canvas element on the screen. So let's go ahead to our browser, refresh. And as you can see, it is set in between layers. So it's set in front of our images, the animated background that we have, but it's set underneath the music playlist and the control buttons. Okay, so let's go back. Let's turn that back off. And then let's head down to the data section and start adding some of the properties that we're going to be needing. So we will put our analyzer data properties in here. The first one is going to be initialized, and we're going to set this to false. The next is going to be audio source, and we're going to set this to an open object. We're going to set our analyzer also to an object. Our buffer length will be an object. Canvas CTX data array is actually going to be an array. Bar width, bar height, and X. X will be our starting point. Now, I've gone ahead and sort of explained early on that we would be using the Web Audio API. And this is a different one we used for the audio element. What this does, this Web Audio API actually allows you to target different parts of the canvas to do different things. You can have all sorts of different shapes, sizes, and speeds, and all sorts of different things that you can deal with. What we are going to be focused on is the audio context, and we are going to learn how to make that work. One thing too is if you go down to or up to browser compatibility. Now, a lot of the research I was doing while trying to figure this out, they had a way of doing it so that it would display in pretty much whatever browser you throw at it. And I can't tell just how outdated any of that information was, but this is the most updated list that I could find where the audio context is available for Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and these are the versions that they have available. But we're still gonna do the fallback in case. I just wanted to point that out. The link for this page is also down in the description in case you guys want to take a look. So with that being said, let's head back to our text editor and let's start targeting some of these properties that we just put in. Under the progress bar value, we can put this canvas equals document, query selector, hash canvas. The next one will be this CTX equals canvas. And if you've ever worked with canvas before, to display anything, maybe with charts or something like that, then this is something that you would need to also add. So get context, you might be familiar with it. And we're going to have 2D. And then we're going to give the canvas a width and a height. So this canvas width equals window, inner width. These are grabbing from the DOM. And this canvas height equals window, inner height. So now if we scroll down to the methods, we can shrink upload song, this. We'll just put it under here. Okay, and we'll say init player. Now, the first thing that we want to do is to set the audio context that we were just looking for. So we'll say this audio CTX equals new, and we'll say audio context or web hit audio context. And then we'll put another parentheses on the outside of that to make sure that we call that as the functions that they are. Now, the next thing we want to do is set the audio source. And this is not the same audio source as the audio that we're using. We are going to redefine it. So this audio source equals this audio CTX, which we just defined. And we're going to say create media element source. And we're going to call this audio because that is the new audio player that we have right up here. Okay, that's coming from our actual music. So we're just really saying that we want this to be attached to the audio. These functions that we're using are part of this audio context. So that's where we're getting it from. So now we want to set the analyzer, this analyzer, make sure you have the right spelling for it. We'll say this analyzer equals this audio CTX create analyzer. So this is what basically is going to be reading all of the information that we're putting in. So now that we have the analyzer set, we can now say this audio source connect this analyzer. So now we've connected the source to the analyzer. So the next one is going to be this analyzer connect this audio CTX, and now we're targeting the element that's inside destination. We're putting the audio to the destination of the canvas, the audio CTX to the destination of where the canvas is. So now we'll say this analyzer FFT size equals 512. This basically just lists how many bars are in the element that we'll have. So when we're taking a look, it'll be how many bars are listed across here. That's all that that's saying. There are different numbers that you can put. You can play around with them. They're listed on that site as well, and you can take a look and see which one fits whatever your needs are. And then now we can do this buffer length equals this analyzer frequency bin count. Now this is a little bit tricky to explain. I'm sure others can do it a lot better job of it than me because I am not an audio person at all. But basically the buffer length is this frequency bin count. They're putting how many bars to the amount of arrays that we're in the arrays that we're going to have. Okay, they're being set aside. So that'll be the buffer length. This data array equals new u int 8 array, and then we're going to attach that to this buffer length. And then we're also going to do this bar width equals 5. This is all just to initialize the player. If we head down to the play button, we need to have a method that's going to trigger this event. So we'll say this animate and parentheses, and that'll be the name of our function. Okay, so let's close that up. Then we'll come under all of the rest of the functions and we'll just name it here. Animate. Since x is going to be where we start from, we need to first call this x. and we need to set that to 0. So that every time it's going to be running over and over again, this animate function. Every time it's called, it needs to be started at 0. So whenever we hit a play button or we have a function that calls the play button, this animate needs to be triggered. So we'll say this x equals 0, and now this ctx, because this is our canvas, we want to clear rect. For x and y, we're going to have 0, 0. This way it starts all the way at the bottom and the left. And we're going to say this canvas width and this canvas height. This is just the canvas element. All this is saying is that we're starting it from 0, 0, bottom left, and then we want it to cover the full canvas width and the full canvas height. So now we're going to call this analyzer, and we're going to say get byte frequency data, and then we're going to get that from this data array, which we've already set and listed. The object of what we're doing is to call this function, and then we're going to have it run in a loop. We need a for. So we have an index, so we need to make sure that these are I instead of index. We're going to say let I equal 0. If I is less than this buffer length, then we are going to increment it up. And let's see, let me move this up a little bit. We can get rid of this. We're not going to need this. We're going to say this bar height equals this data array I. It's going to start at 0, and then it's going to be whatever that 0 turns out to be when it increments. And then we're going to say let hue equal I times 15. Now this is just a configuration for the color schemes that we want. You can change this up and play around with it and see what best suits your needs. I just really like that rainbow sort of effect on the color bars. So then we'll say this ctx fill style equals, and then we're going to use the HSL to handle our colors, and then we're going to name the colors dynamically. Plus hue, which is what we just listed, plus, and then we're going to add 100% and 50%, and then we are going to close off that parentheses. Whenever you're starting with the canvas and you need to add something to the canvas, you really want to start by clearing it all out first, and that's kind of what we did up here. We're just basically setting it to 0. Everything is being set to 0, and now we can go ahead and fill the style. So this ctx fill rect, and then we're going to put this x, this canvas height, minus this bar height, this bar width, and this bar height. So we're just setting a couple of properties on how we're going to fill the canvas. So we're going to have this x, so whatever the x turns out to be, we're going to have this canvas height minus this bar height. So we're going to take the full height and we're going to subtract whatever the bar height is, and that's what we're setting here. Then we're also going to need this bar width and this bar height. I know it seems a little bit much, but to find out how to do these, you really can Google them and check them out. And there are a bunch of videos that have how to work on these audio visualizers, and you can play around and look at the documentation for it. So now we need to do this x plus equals this bar width plus 4. All this is doing is just filling in the canvas, and it's filling in the canvas with different colors, and the colors are going according to the music. That's where we're getting this get byte frequency data. It's breaking it down to its actual numbers and just all of that stuff that goes into it. It's breaking it down here, and then it's attaching those colors to that audio, color by color. So now under this for, we need to call request animation frame this animate. So we're just calling the function over again. This request animation frame is a part of the web API that allows it to continuously run over and over again until something happens to stop it. So that's all that this request animation frame function is doing. Let's go ahead and see if that works. So we'll go to the browser and we'll refresh. Okay, and we'll press play, and we'll also open up our inspect tools because we will be getting an error. We'll click play. Okay, and it's playing. We're not seeing our canvas. And we're also getting an error that says this analyzer get byte frequency data is not a function. That's because we have to call this init player function that we made. We're calling animate. We haven't called the init player. So let's head back up to our play and we'll open that up. And before anything else, we'll call this init player. Okay, so now let's head back and try it again, refresh. We'll go ahead and hit play. So we're actually getting, I console logged this out earlier, and this is the uint8 array that we're getting. And as you can see, it's just an array with a bunch of different numbers in it. And it's popping out as it goes. So 0 to 99, 199, but we do see our numbers here. So let's go ahead and we seem to have lost our class. And we also have lost, let's see, failed to execute create media element source on audio context. Okay. So that might be connected. Let's go ahead and pause this. At least we are seeing the bars now. We'll go back to the text editor. And that error is actually because this new audio context, basically, it's designed to not just autoplay when a user enters a page. It's designed to be triggered by something. So there has to be an action on it before you're able to actually use the audio context. That's what that error is telling you. Like, it'll still play, but it will throw that error in case you haven't corrected it. So we have an initialized property up here. So what we need to do now is on this init player, we need to set if this initialized, then just return. Now remember, we're setting it here as false. When we load the page, the initialized is false. But if it's not, then this initialized equals true. So to run that back, this is a function that connects the canvas to the, we can go ahead and comment this back out. This is basically connecting the audio to the canvas element. Okay, that's what this whole init player is doing. It's setting up the audio context and connecting the buffer length, the analyzer, the source. It's connecting everything together with the destination. The play function, once we hit play, it calls that function, it runs through everything, it plays the song, and then it also runs this animate function. This animate function sets up the canvas element to display what it is we're showing, and then it's running over and over again. I'm hoping that this makes sense. Audio is not my strong point, but we are doing the best we can. Okay, so let's head back to the browser and let's see if that error is still here and maybe what's going on with our class of active. So refresh. We'll go ahead and click play. Okay, no error, and we have our visualization. My computer's stalling a little bit, but it is working. So we need to fix this class here. So let's close this and let's pause the music so that we can address this class here. Go back to the text editor and we'll go ahead and scroll up to play. And here we're going to say this active item equals this current song. So hopefully that should bring back our class. Okay, we'll go back to the browser, we'll refresh it. We'll go ahead and now click play. Okay, so we have our class back, our music's playing, and our player is officially done. So let's try making sure by trying another song. We'll try this one. Okay, and one more. Fantastic. Okay, so that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini project that we had. It's a little bit of a stray from what we normally do, but it's good to have fun things like this. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys learned something. Thanks for watching. I will make sure to leave all of the links that we have down in the description of the video, so you can go ahead, check it out, and see if you want to look up or research anything. Like maybe you want to have different designs for these visualizers. There's tons of videos on them. I'm not qualified to really give you that much detail, but I at least am somewhat capable of getting something like this to work. And if I'm able to do it, anyone's able to do it. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.